Light and Magic is out on Disney Plus, a 6-episode documentary series about industrial light and magic, perhaps the most accomplished and well-known special effects company in the history of filmmaking. Even if you think you don't know them, you most assuredly do, from movies such as Star Wars, Indiana Jones, E.T., Jurassic Park, Marvel films, Transformers, and so many more. The series tells their story from the company's conception as one created by George Lucas specifically for the purpose of creating the original Star Wars, and then through the 1980s and the 1990s with the advent of digital technology taking over practical effects. If you're at all interested in filmmaking, in the behind the scenes sort of stuff, it's incredibly fascinating for three reasons. First of all, it's a great way to peek behind that curtain, to understand how special effects are made and how some of the most iconic scenes in the history of cinema were actually created. We see the models being built, the special camera setups constructed, the stop motion animations being done, matte paintings, and so on. Sometimes the ingenuity and the creativity of the people involved is just stunning, and I found out for the first time that ILM is where Pixar and Photoshop were both originated, aside from just the effects stuff. So they were a very multi-talented company, so to speak. Secondly, the show does a great job of contextualizing ILM's history within movie history as a whole and explaining how groundbreaking their work was right from the get-go, and then with Jurassic Park in 1993, how unbelievably quickly the transition from practical to digital effects happened, how almost overnight the whole industry was flipped on its head. And on the one hand, it was a terrible thing for many of the old school model makers and so on to find themselves, almost extinct suddenly. But on the other, it was the result of great progress being made by the people within that same company, progress that revolutionized the industry for sure. And the third reason I found the show so good is that it actually gives voice to the people who are so often not mentioned when discussing credit for great movies. We usually talk about the director and the actors, sometimes about the scriptwriter, composer, maybe cinematographer, but the special effects guys are not often in the spotlight, and this show not only helps understand just to what extent they can be responsible for a movie's success, but also lets them just talk directly about those experiences and show how passionate they are about their work. It was great to get to know them and to see this infectious enthusiasm that they all have for the stuff they do. So yeah, it's very informative and entertaining, full of great stories and interesting knowledge, presented in a way that is understandable by pretty much anyone. You don't need to have a background in filmmaking. I wholly recommend it to and just about anyone who likes watching movies, but if you're a fan of filmmaking specifically, you cannot miss it.